ladies and gentlemen, let me tell you something. No contact, that's a good start. That's the first swing of the hammer. But if you really want to let him feel it, I mean feel it deep in his chest like a missing heartbeat, you're going to have to do more than just disappear. No contact is just silence, but transformation makes noise he can't ignore. When you decide to go no contact with a man, the first thing you feel is power. It's the first breath after holding your peace for too long. It's the first moment you stop chasing clarity from someone who gave you confusion. And don't get it twisted, going no contact is absolutely necessary. It cuts the cord. It gives you space. It brings your emotions back into your control. But let me be real with you. No contact alone is just that. And silence without transformation is a quiet room with your pain still sitting in the corner. See, when a man sees you go quiet, he doesn't always panic. Some men assume you'll be back. They know the cycle: fight, space, reunion. They're not sweating it. They're just waiting it out. They're thinking, she'll text me, she always does. And if you go quiet, but your spirit stays stuck, if your habits stay the same, your self-worth doesn't grow, and you're just sitting there waiting for him to notice your absence, you're not making noise. You're just on pause. You're not moving forward. You're just hoping your silence speaks louder than your words ever could. But here's the thing. It's not silence that shakes a man. It's the transformation that follows it. The moment you stop worrying about what he's doing, who he's texting, what he's posting, and you start focusing on you, that's when things shift. That's when you start to rebuild. You reclaim your time, your energy, your peace. You go from thinking about him first thing in the morning to thinking about your goals, your purpose, your growth. You start dressing for you, not to get his attention, but to match your new standard. You walk with a different energy. Your laugh sounds different. It's not forced. It's not covering pain. It's genuine. You start to glow, and it ain't the makeup. It's that you cleaned out the parts of your life that were dimming your light. You're no longer drained from proving your worth. You know your worth, and now your actions reflect it. That kind of transformation, oh, he hears it, even if you never say a word, even if he's blocked, even if he hasn't seen a picture or heard your voice. He hears it in the way you stop reacting. He hears it in the silence that feels different, not cold, but confident, not bitter, but better. That silence has movement in it. It's not still, it's not stuck, it's not waiting. It's growing, it's building. And whether he sees it through a friend, through social media, or just senses the shift in the atmosphere, he knows something's changed. He knows the woman who used to chase, who used to cry, who used to beg for effort, she doesn't live here anymore. You didn't just go silent. You leveled up. You didn't just step back. You stepped into your power. Because when a woman transforms, she doesn't have to announce it. It speaks for itself. Her vibe changes. Her energy becomes sacred. She stops entertaining boys who confuse chaos with chemistry. She starts protecting her peace like it's the last jewel she owns. And that's when a man starts to feel it, not when you cut him off, but when he realizes he can no longer reach the woman you've become. No contact, that's a door shutting. The transformation, that's the lock clicking, the blinds closing, the lights inside turning on while the outside goes dark. You want him to feel it? Don't just vanish, evolve. Make your silence mean something. Let it be filled with new habits, new boundaries, and a new version of you that he can't reach, rewind, or replace. You don't just disappear, you evolve. And evolution echoes louder than absence. When a woman finally walks away, she doesn't just evaporate into thin air. She doesn't just remove herself from his phone, his messages, his day-to-day rhythm. she begins to change deeply and quietly. It's not about vanishing. It's not about hiding. It's about becoming. And the thing is, real evolution doesn't need a grand announcement. It doesn't scream. It doesn't perform. It doesn't ask for attention. It simply unfolds. And when it does, it creates an echo, a lasting, undeniable shift that a man feels long after your presence is gone. At first, he may think it's just space, that you're cooling off, going through a phase, waiting for him to come back with a better excuse or a more polished version of the same old pattern. But evolution doesn't loop, it climbs. And once a woman begins that climb, she's not looking back down to see if he's following. She's too busy unlearning the things she accepted just to feel love. She's too busy confronting the parts of herself to stay too long, apologize too often, settle too deeply. He notices the absence, sure, but it's the evolution that haunts him. He doesn't just miss the sound of your voice, he misses the warmth you brought into a cold situation. He doesn't just miss your texts, he misses the way you used to pour life into dead conversations, the way you softened your strength to keep the peace. And now that strength is back in full force. Now that softness is directed inward. Now he's watching you thrive in ways he never encouraged, glow in ways he never appreciated, grow in ways he never supported. You start showing up differently. Your posture changes. Your eyes light up in places they used to dim. You walk into rooms and command space, not because you're trying to be noticed, but because you finally noticed yourself. You're no longer available for chaos dressed up as passion. You're no longer interested in proving your value to someone who was blind to it. Your life starts aligning with the version of you that was buried beneath compromise, confusion, and constant emotional labor. And that change, that shift, that's the part he can't shake. Because absence, that just means you're not there. But evolution, that means you're not you anymore. Not the version he was used to, not the version he took for granted, not the version he thought would always be waiting. You've become someone he can't guilt into returning, someone he can't breadcrumb anymore, someone he can't reach with the same tired tactics. He might try. Oh, he'll try. A text here, a hey, just thinking about you there, a reminder of a memory, a lazy attempt at reconnection, hoping you'll fall back into the loop. But the loop is broken. You've rewritten the pattern. You've upgraded the system. He's knocking on a door that no longer exists. He's sending signals to a frequency you've outgrown. Because when a woman evolves, her presence expands, even in her absence. She's in the room without being in the room. Her absence becomes a mirror he can't avoid. It reflects all the ways he didn't rise to meet her, all the ways he stayed stagnant while she was blooming. And that realization, that's the echo. That's the sound of her evolution bouncing off the walls of his mind long after she's gone. She no longer just takes up space in his world. She's transformed into a force that moves without him, heals without him, dreams without him. And it's the loudest silence he's ever heard. It's not revenge. It's not bitterness. It's just her becoming who she was always meant to be without his approval, his validation, or his permission. The real power isn't in ignoring him. It's in making him realize he no longer qualifies for access. See, some women think the win is in the silence, that if they don't respond, don't reach out, don't react, they're winning. And yes, silence is a strong move. It says, I'm no longer engaging in things that devalue me. But silence alone, that's just the surface. Real power is when you shift so completely, so intentionally, that he finally understands the door is closed, the key doesn't work, and his name is no longer on the guest list. It's not just that he can't reach you, it's that he no longer meets the requirements. You raise the standard, and now he stands on the outside looking in, realizing the old version of him has no chance with the new version of you. That's the sting, that's the weight. That's what makes him feel it. Not that he can't get a reply, but that even if he did, it wouldn't matter. You've grown past needing to explain, justify, or hope he finally sees your word. He might try to slide back in with familiarity. Hey, I was just thinking about you. I miss us. Remember when we used to? But you don't move for recycled words anymore. You don't break your peace for deja vu. You're not entertained by old stories from a man who couldn't write a future. You've become discerning. You've become guarded, not from fear, but from clarity. You now know who deserves access and who only took advantage of it. It's not about revenge. It's not about teaching him a lesson. It's about recognizing that you were the blessing all along and treating yourself accordingly. You tried, you poured out your heart, and for a while you waited for him to meet you at your level. But when he stayed comfortable and complacent, you decided elevation was no longer optional, it was necessary. And in that elevation, you saw something clearly. Not everyone is meant to go where you're going. Some people are only meant to be the lesson that prepares you for the love that honors you. Now, he doesn't get updates. He doesn't get access to your joy, your glow up, your healing process. He has to watch from the sidelines, if at all. Because now your presence has a price. Your time has value. Your energy is not available for people who once took it for granted. And that shift, that realization, it changes the dynamic forever. You're not cold, you're clear. You're not bitter, you're better. You're not hiding, you've just become unavailable to chaos, confusion, and emotional immaturity. The version of you that once begged for love, begged for consistency, begged for clarity, that version is gone. Replaced by a woman who doesn't negotiate with red flags, doesn't plead with potential, and doesn't make room for people who show up half-hearted. And that's when he feels it, not in the silence, but in the access denied. He feels it when he realizes he can't just stroll back into your life like nothing happened. He feels it when he sees that you're thriving and he's no longer a part of that story. He feels it when he tries to reach you energetically, emotionally, even physically, and all he meets is a locked gate and a woman who no longer waits at the window. You didn't change to get back at him, you changed to get back to you. And now he can't find a way in, not because you're hiding, but because you're healed. You're not avoiding him, you've simply outgrown him. You're not punishing him, you've just reclaimed yourself. The power isn't in the block, it's in the boundary. It's in the unshakable peace that says, you can want me all you want, but wanting me and qualifying for me are two very different things.